Let's move straight to TikTok. Trump has issued executive orders aimed at banning TikTok and WeChat over national security concerns. It effectively prohibits US companies or citizens from transacting with ByteDance, which is TikTok's Chinese parent company, and even prevent companies from doing business in the US, potentially making it illegal for US companies to buy advertising on TikTok, maybe even to download the app from the Apple App Store. Cory, do you think this is an essential national security move, or is there another motivation behind this?
Shari, I don't know what I don't know, but I'm not sure this TikTok is a national security threat. I think there's more politics at work here than anything else. I fully understand why people are concerned about supplying data to Chinese-based technology companies, but it's no more data than our own governments and other commercial operations are collecting already. They do facial recognition, they track where we are, where we sleep, they make that available to everyone. There's a whole bunch of code that's installed in apps, third-party code, that is designed to monetize human beings.
But doesn't that mean if a Chinese-based company or a company linked to the Chinese government does have access to these apps and the data in our phones, I mean, isn't that a serious security issue if they can access the content on our phones, you know, if we have these apps?
Well, it's not necessarily the content, that may be, but certainly there are issues attached to what governments will do with it. But then why wouldn't we ban all Huawei phones, for example? Because they're made by Chinese government organisation. Why the Apple iPhone is built in China in many cases as well. I mean, we've got to limit what we're going to ban under national security grounds just because they're linked to a Chinese organisation. I don't think is grounds enough. But politics is front and centre in Donald Trump's ideas. I think it'll work for him over there, quite frankly, and he wants to win a re-election. So that's the motive from my point of view.
What do you reckon, Aaron? Is this more about domestic politics? I mean, the tensions between China and the US are certainly escalating.
Shari, I think the US has got more worry about Russia than China. You know, Russia is trying to interfere in the US presidential election, according to US intelligence assessments. They say that the Chinese would actually prefer, bizarrely, Biden to be president because they're a bit concerned about the instability in the US at the moment. And this is part of Trump's pushback against free trade that has made the world so much richer. And a lot of that free trade is because China has become the world's factory, and China makes stuff cheap for the rest of us. And if they're going to make TikTok available so comedians like Sarah Turner can send up Donald Trump, well, fair enough. And resorting to this incredibly heavy-handed step of banning them is just another step back for global free trade, which is in the interests of Australia. You know, we're a trading nation, and we should be horrified at another decision like this out of the Trump White House.
Look, I have to say I personally disagree with both of you. I wouldn't be downloading TikTok on my phone knowing that that it could be a back way in, but perhaps that's because I'm a journalist working in this general space. Cory, on another topic, the bushfire inquiry, it seems that it is going to recommend we need more hazard reduction, more backburning. Labor had a Labor shadow minister on my show earlier. He seemed to be open to that. I mean, this is what we knew and what farmers were telling us the whole time, but the former Commissioner, Shane Fitzsimmons, didn't want to know about it. He said backburning wasn't the problem.
It's another extraordinary example of how the wisdom of the ages and the people who are at the front line all the time are told to be quiet, that they don't know anything. They're belittled and humiliated by so-called experts. And the experts get it wrong again and again and again because they're politically motivated more than anything else. And I hope this inquiry reports that backburning is important. We've got to stop surrendering our towns and our security and our environmental concerns to a rabid and feral Greens party, and that's what's been happening in recent decades.
Well, Aaron, the detail that one of the reasons the hazard reduction hadn't been happening close to where communities were actually vulnerable was that because of the inconvenience of smoke haze. I mean, that's extraordinary when you think about how the entire Sydney region and many of the regional areas as well was covered in smoke over December and January.
Yeah, well, I went down and covered the bushfires, Shari, for the Washington Post, and I actually got caught down there and had to stay on a bit longer because the roads got cut off, and it was absolutely terrifying. And I did hear that people don't like backburning. You know, they don't like the smoke. It's just seen as an inconvenience, as an annoyance, and you turn a blind eye. And then suddenly, every decade or so, we have these horrible bushfires to go through and destroy so much property and, unfortunately, lives. So hopefully this inquiry will be a way to sort of change people's views and move things forward so we can avoid terrible loss like this happening again.
Yeah. Look, we've got less than 30 seconds left. Cory Bernardi, very quickly, your final word. I wanted to hear from you on this social inclusion policy that has driven the Andrews government.
Shari, this is just an example of how dangerous non-merit-based selection is, whether it be in politics or in guards or in choosing leadership or anything else. Identity politics is dangerous, it is poisonous, it is toxic for our country, and it's got to stop.
Yeah. Cory Bernardi, Aaron Patrick, I appreciate your time. Thank you for sticking with me through that panel chat and through the technical issues. Hopefully it'll be a bit smoother next time. And we're not even on Skype either, Cory.
No, it's just an NBN issue from my end, Shari.
There you go. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Shari. Good night.
Thanks.